Guys, it's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. It is Saturday, February 24th, 2024, and I have some breaking news to share with you guys. So, Iran's special forces have carried out a cross border raid into Pakistan, during which they killed Ismail Shahbaks, a leader of the Jaish al Adl, and a bunch of his supporters. So, the Iranian special forces went into Pakistan and killed the leader of some kind of Pakistani terror group. So this is huge. They literally violated Pakistan's border, okay, without asking Pakistan for permission. We also have an update on the balloon that was flying over the US yesterday and prompted NORAD to scramble fighter jets. Apparently, the balloon is not from China and is the property of an amateur balloonist, according to defense officials. I'm not sure if I believe that or not. And footage has been released showing Russian forces entering the center of Robotine in the Zaporizhia region, as Ukrainian defenders have now reportedly withdrawn from a majority of the town, as well as several communities to the east, in order to secure a fortified defense line to the north against relentless attacks by the Russian armed forces. So the Ukrainians are now losing Robotine. If you remember, last summer, the Ukrainians were trying very hard to capture this town, and they were trying to push south towards the Sea of Azov to try to cut the land bridge. Well, it looks like all their gains are now being reversed, and the Russian flag has been raised in the settlements of Lastochikne and Sevierne to the west of Avdiivka in the Donetsk region. So these are two villages that are west of Avdiivka, okay? So the Russians are now pushing deeper into Ukraine after they've taken Avdiivka. So very bad news coming from Ukraine on the 2-year anniversary of the war. Looks like the front lines in Ukraine are collapsing, and the Russians are pushing the front lines further into Ukraine. They're gaining more territory. So I'll keep an eye on that, but it's not looking good for Ukraine right now. And we currently have 2 U.S. nuclear war command and control planes in the air. We have one over Oklahoma City this afternoon, and we have one out in the Atlantic off the coast of New Jersey. And I want to just show you guys some pictures here of a Soviet anti-satellite weapon that was supposedly developed in 1978. And this just proves my theory that the nukes that Russia is putting into space are not for destroying satellites. Okay, the mainstream media was saying, oh, it's an anti-satellite weapon. And like I said, guys, that's just to quell panic. Okay, anti-satellite weapons are nothing new. All right, this is from 1978 during the USSR. They had this anti-satellite weapon. Okay, here's another drawing showing how this anti-satellite weapon would work. But also, if they had a nuclear warhead in space and they were going to use that as an anti-satellite weapon, that would be stupid, because they could destroy their own satellites or indiscriminately destroy satellites of their allies. Because a nuclear warhead, when it detonates, it generates a massive EMP pulse that would fry probably hundreds of satellites all around the detonation point indiscriminately. Okay, so I'm telling you guys, Russia put nukes in space, or they will be putting nukes in space for the purposes of a surprise attack on the United States and NATO, because by putting the warheads in space, it eliminates our ability to detect their launch. Okay, if they're up in space already, they literally just have to release the warhead from space, which would give us literally 5 minutes or less to prepare, which is not enough time to launch a counterattack, potentially, not enough time to scramble bombers, that's for sure. So our bombers would get destroyed. on runways, and maybe not enough time to get the president out of the White House or out of DC. Okay. Polish authorities are reminding people not to post videos or photos of military vehicle movements throughout the country. The General Directorate of National Roads and Motorways has issued a communication informing all drivers of the need to now become familiar not only with normal road signs, but also with military load classification signs, which will be put up in all of Poland. There appears to be an eastward movement of forces causing traffic problems. And here we have a picture showing some of these new military load classification signs. You can see like a little tank on the bottom right here. Looks like maybe a larger truck. And then they have these signs here: no Facebook, no Instagram, no pictures. Okay, because there's a massive amount of military equipment moving into Poland now. Okay, not just Poland, but all of Eastern Europe. NATO is forward deploying a massive amount of equipment because they're afraid Russia is going to invade. And I think it could happen as soon as this summer, okay, before the presidential election. So this is very, very interesting and very concerning. And Lithuania is now banning train travel between Kaliningrad and Lithuania. That is very concerning. And the president of Poland said that he did not believe what Putin said in the Tucker Carlson interview, that Russia would not attack Poland or any NATO country. And the leader of the Crimean Tatters, Mustafa Dzemilev, said the Crimean Tatters are ready to destroy the Crimean Bridge. He said everything is ready. We can destroy the Crimean Bridge, but we will do it when it is necessary. Okay, the Crimean Tatters are some ethnic minorities in Crimea. I believe they have Turkish roots, and they have their own guerrilla forces and partisan forces that they're basically just waiting for Ukraine to give them the green light to go after the bridge. They're going to try to work with Ukraine essentially. And Ukraine's prime minister threatened Poland over the border blockade by Polish farmers, saying yesterday the issue of unblocking the border with Poland should be resolved by March 28th. Otherwise, Ukraine may take retaliatory measures at border crossings, Prime Minister Denis Shmyhal said. He also said that they went to the Polish border to meet the Polish government, and apparently the Polish government did not show up. He said, "We waited. The meeting with the Polish government officials at the border did not take place today." Wow, so very bad situation there between Poland and Ukraine. Hopefully they can work it out. And this update was sponsored by Patriot Supply. Guys, Patriot Supply is doing a discount on their 1 month emergency food supply. And to get the deal, you got to go to preparewithnYprepper.com, and the link is in the description below this video. This is a 1 month freeze-dried food supply. It has a 25-year shelf life. Normal price is $237. They've dropped it down to $177. So that's a savings of $60. And it's all packed within 2 rugged, water-resistant buckets. Free shipping is included. $177 for 1 month of food. Where are you going to find a deal like that? They also have a general store, and they're always running discounts in their general store on various prepping and survival items. They have everything from MREs, potassium iodide, to survival seeds. And to get to their general store, you got to click on the Patriot Supply logo at the top of the page when you get to preparewithnYprepper.com. And you'll see when you get there, they have everything you can imagine. So use the link preparewithnYprepper.com to get $60 off the Patriot Supply 1 month emergency food supply. That's $180 for 1 month of food, free shipping included. The link is in the description below this video. And also check out their general store. They have everything you can imagine prepping and survival related, and they're always running various discounts there. And the prime ministers of Italy, Canada, and Belgium have arrived in Ukraine, and also the president of the EU, Ursula von der Leyen, and Boris Johnson also arrived in Ukraine. So something is going on for all of these VIPs to arrive in Ukraine today on the 2-year anniversary of the war. Looks like they're probably going to work out some kind of package, maybe an aid package, or maybe some security guarantees, or maybe they're going to admit Ukraine into the EU. Who knows? And Ukraine shot down another Russian AWACS plane, an A-50 long-range radar detection aircraft was shot down by an S-200 anti-aircraft system, according to the Defense Intelligence of Ukraine. And these Russian AWACS planes are worth hundreds of millions of dollars. And Iran's permanent mission to the UN has denied media reports that it has supplied Russia with ballistic missiles that could be used to wage war against Ukraine. And the Polish foreign minister was on Bloomberg the other day, and he said that the delay in foreign military aid to Ukraine could push American allies to develop their own nuclear weapons, basically hinting that Poland could potentially start developing their own nuclear program. And here we have some more NATO cargo going to Eastern Europe. Here we have an Italian Air Force plane landing in southeastern Poland last night. And here we have a NATO plane going from Germany to northern Norway. And on Thursday night, 2 US B-1 strategic bombers landed in northern Sweden in Luleå. And in that town, there's a base called F-21, where one of Sweden's most elite fighter jet squadrons are based at. Okay, so it's clear that the US is trying to protect Sweden ahead of Sweden's accession into NATO. And the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, announced that the Israeli War Cabinet will meet next week to approve military plans for Rafah, which include evacuating civilians from the area. And Al Jazeera is reporting that 200,000 new fighters in Yemen have joined the Houthis, bringing the total strength of the Houthi army to around 500,000 fighters. I don't know if I truly believe that. Here we have a map showing the new front line around Avdiivka in Ukraine, and you can see the Russians advanced all the way past Avdiivka already, and they've captured these two towns here, Shevierne and Lastochikne. Okay, so very, very bad situation there in Ukraine. We have some footage coming out of northern Israel today showing Israeli air defense engaging some rockets aimed at northern Israel. Okay, this was in Kiryat Shimona, all right, in northern Israel. So Hezbollah is continuing to launch rockets into northern Israel. And Israel launched a bunch of airstrikes today in southern Lebanon again. Okay, so the situation is escalating continually in Lebanon and northern Israel. And here you can see this massive plume of smoke from one of the Israeli airstrikes. Here's another big plume of smoke. Check that out. And apparently the U.S. is planning to test a hypersonic missile today. We have this massive NOTAM off the coast of California. So I'm going to keep an eye on this and update you guys. But this is very, very interesting. And here we have the flight path of what could be a U.S. reconnaissance plane flying along the border with North Korea. And the U.S. has been flying a lot of reconnaissance planes along the border with North Korea, so much that the North Korean government has threatened to shoot down one of these recon planes. And here we have a video of some Polish activists dumping manure in front of the Russian embassy in Poland on the 2-year anniversary of the Ukraine war. Look at that hot steaming manure. And there were also a bunch of Polish activists outside of the Russian embassy demonstrating against the war on the 2-year anniversary. And the Chinese Coast Guard pledged to begin conducting regular maritime inspections around the Taiwan-controlled Kinmen Island. Now, this island is just a few miles off the coast of mainland China, and Taiwan controls it. And in the Kinmen Island, we deployed a bunch of Green Berets to train Taiwan's forces and maybe potentially conduct some reconnaissance or covert missions or actions. So now the Chinese Coast Guard is going to be patrolling around that island that Taiwan owns or controls, and they're going to be inspecting ships. Okay, so that's another big escalation there between China and Taiwan. And China on Friday launched the 11th satellite under a classified Chinese military program with the country's most powerful rocket. Chinese state media reported the successful launch of the satellite from the southern island of Hainan with a Long March 5 rocket. No details on the satellite were given except that it will be mainly used for multi-band and high-speed communication technology experiments. Very interesting. And today, Donald Trump spoke at CPAC, and he said, "Our country is being destroyed, and the only thing standing between you and its obliteration is me. It's an express train barreling towards servitude and to ruin." He said that in many ways we're living in hell. And Nikki Haley spoke today. She said, "We're going to keep going all the way through Super Tuesday. That's as far as I've thought in terms of going forward. There is a choice. We can leave the drama and the chaos. We can leave the incompetence, and we can go to something that is normal." So that's the latest breaking news that I have. I will be back later on tonight with more breaking news. So until then, take care, God bless, and don't forget the 3 Ps: prepare, practice, and persevere.